Takbir. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Assalamu alaikum everyone. First of all, Jazakumullah khairan for coming through today. I got here about an hour ago, and when I came in, there was a lot of empty space on the tables. And I was thinking, this is a beautiful thing, mashallah. We have a masjid that's going to be started up again. We had, Minhal a couple of years ago. I don't know how many years ago it's been now, time flies. 10 years. 10 years ago that the masjid was there. And it was beautiful because I used to live closer to that masjid, and it came, and it was so many times that you're driving and you're looking for a place to pray, and you love to pray in the masjid, but you can't because it's too far. But Minhal was close, and it was a place that we were able to go to pray. So when it was no longer there, it became difficult, and now to see this project start up again is a beautiful thing. So may Allah put barakah on this effort. Whether there was a few people here earlier, and now there's a lot of people, regardless of the people, may Allah put blessings in it. Our job is to just make the effort and try, and Allah will put barakah in the effort. So my name is Ibad. I'm here tonight to do the unpopular job of being the moderator. My only role here today is to keep things on schedule. That is it. I'm going to try to do my best. Unfortunately, we have a really amazing lineup. And I feel shy to sit at this table with the lineup that we have here with all of these shuyukh. And I have a lot of respect for these scholars. So it's going to be very difficult for me to keep the time, but I have to do it for the betterment of all of us, inshallah, and all, including our speakers here on stage. So just a brief overview of the program. You all have the agenda in front of you. Just to give an updated schedule. We had the recitation. We're going to start with some welcoming comments from Brother Amin Kareem. After that, we're going to have some brief reminders and comments from our respected guests, Dr. Hatem Al-Hajj and Imam Raouf. And then after that, Sheikh Ala will share some words and encourage us and remind us about this effort and this project and why it's important to support it. And then followed by that, we will have the dinner, of course, and then Isha. So probably Isha will be around 9:30. Program will probably end around 8:45. So just to give you something to bear in mind for the timeline, inshallah, just so everyone sets expectations for themselves. So without further ado, Brother Amin Kareem, if you could please join me up here and just share some words with the welcoming. Okay, it sounds like the welcome has already been done, but I mean, already had given the welcome. So why don't we start with Dr. Hatem, if you want to share some words.
Sorry. If you can move the flower, they want anything? No, not big.
So the first question that comes to some people's minds is, do we need more masajid? We have, MCMC and we have Al Wali, and we have several masajid nearby. Do we need more masajid? And I will tell you, I'm not going to use the statistics, because if I use the statistics, that may get you bored. But the statistics are out there indicating that we as a Muslim community are in need of about 5 to 6 times the number of masajid that we currently have. In terms of per capita, masajid per capita, compared to churches per capita, and compared to synagogues per capita. So the numbers are not in our favor. Numbers are not in our favor in terms of the masajid per capita. So we do need more masajid in that respect. But there is another story that is particularly important here to make note of. I heard from one of the side that one of the Unitarian churches, one of the sort of denominations within the Unitarian Church, once their church exceeds a threshold of 50 families, they break up the church. The church is not allowed to have more than 50 families because after that, people do not know each other on a first-name basis. And it is important for their community, it is important for their congregation that everyone who comes to the church would know everyone on first-name basis. And they feel that after 50 families, it's not doable anymore, it's not sustainable anymore to keep that sort of family-like, cozy feeling within the congregation. So they break it up and they demand of the church basically to be broken up into two churches. And the reason why I'm saying this is to point out the importance of building communities. It is, inshallah, it will be easy to build the masjid. The masajid have a special barakah that I have not myself seen any community attempting to build a masjid and failing. I have not heard of any community that tried to build a masjid and failed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them support and Allah puts barakah in the project. But the harder and the more difficult part is to build the community. After you build the masjid and you have the masjid, how is it that we can keep this congregation together, united in goodness? How could we keep this congregation knowing each other on first-name basis? Do you know, wherever you go, whichever masjid that you go to, do you know the people that pray next to you on first-name basis, let alone the whole congregation, the people that you have come to, oftentimes we see the people 50 times, 60 times, and we don't ever ask them about their name, let alone, ask them about where they live or, whatever, if they're married, if they have kids, career, anything. And if you don't care to know people's names, you don't care to know anything about them, because the first thing that you would be asking is their name. So it is very important that we keep this in mind, inshallah, when your project blossoms, inshallah, and the congregation grows, just make sure that you stay united as a family, because that is what a congregation should be, one family. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your efforts and put barakah in your project and make this masjid one of the beacons of light along with the other masajid in this community or in this neighborhood.
Jazakallah khairan, Dr. Hatem. If I could just make a request, it's really loud. I don't know how you hear from the audience, but for me here standing up on stage, it's very difficult to hear. So please try to limit side conversations. Please give the speakers up here your attention. They came here, they sacrificed their time to be here. Their words are brief, so please just try to, those brief words, give your attention. Inshallah, after, you're going to have time, there's going to be dinner, you'll have time to socialize if there's someone here you haven't seen for a long time. So don't worry, inshallah, all that will come. Please just try to keep your voices down, limit the conversations as much as you can. Jazakallah khairan. So next, Imam Raouf will give us a couple of words.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulih al-Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. So I'm seeing in front of me many MCMC faces. Perhaps most of the faces here are MCMC faces. So Alhamdulillah, the establishment of this new masjid, or Musallah, whatever you call it, shows that there is a need for it. There is expansion. In fact, while at the MCMC we expanded the parking lot. The parking lot is still not sufficient for Jumu'ah, and we established 2 Jumu'ah 2 times, and still there is double parking, and there are issues with the parking and so on, right? And the masjid itself is filled for both times. So I think this is a very good and positive development that there is now an extra place where people can perform their salah at ease, where they can meet also for other Islamic purposes, all other Islamic purposes. I would just like to say this, that a masjid is a sign of a Muslim community being there, Muslims being there. In the early days when Muslims came to this country, they were unable to congregate because there was no place. And because the need was seen almost immediately, masajid or musallah started to be established, small places where they could gather together and perhaps perform Jumu'ah and meet for other salawat and other occasions. But in very small, these places were very small, and when the communities grew, they outgrew these places until the communities saw the need to establish masajid with better facilities, maybe full-time facilities. And then other things fell into place after that, including the need for staffing, the need for imams, the need for scholars, and with the growth of the Muslim community, the need for schools, the need for educational programs for the children growing up, the need for schools, the need for education for the adults, and so on and so forth. So it's a positive sign that a new masjid has been established, and we envisage that all of these things will be taking place. One after the other, they will be coming. I think, my other observation is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this masjid, a symbol for Muslims, even if perhaps they were not practicing Islam so much, maybe they were not even performing all of their salawat and so on, but when they meet each other, perhaps in a strange society that they have settled in, and they get to know each other as Muslims, one of the first things that comes to mind is that we need to have a place where we can congregate and where we can pray our salawat. And I'm saying that based on the experience of my country. In Guyana, where Muslims were brought there, and all of them were poor, they were very poor. But one of the first things that they did not also have knowledge of Islam. They did not have knowledge of Islam. But one of the first things that they did was to establish a masjid, even though it might have been very small. They established a masjid in their area. And today, although Guyana is a very small country, it has perhaps at least 150 masajid in it. And you go to any village and you will find a masjid in it. You go to any village in Guyana and you find a masjid in it. And not only on the coastal areas are where the population is. So you go along the coast and you stop in any village, you find a masjid in it. But not only there, even in the interior, where there's hardly any population, we say masajid also. And this is the consciousness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed in the hearts of Muslims, even though they may not have deep knowledge of Islam, and they may not be practicing all that they need to practice as Muslims. But the start of a masjid will bring along with it all of the other things that we need to have in a Muslim community. including the consciousness, the knowledge, the Islamic knowledge, the schools, and so on and so forth, as I mentioned already. We are still lacking in this, in the growth of Islam here in our communities. I think we are still lacking in many things. Yes, we still need masajid. However, we also need other institutions to really make our communities vibrant communities that have an impact on the outer society, on the wider society. The masjid is that point from which all of the other things emanate. One last thing I wish to say at this point is that when you look at the history of Al-Masjid al-Nabawi, the Masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you will see that it was the community center for Muslims. You go to the books of Hadith and so on, you see a long list of things that were done in the Masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that was the focal point for everybody in Medina. But it became so difficult for everybody to come to the masjid that other masajid in the time of the Prophet ﷺ had to be established. It all catered for the needs of the growing community. And we should think ourselves of a growing community like the community of the Prophet ﷺ in Medina, and we should think of all of the other needs that we have as a community as we continue to grow. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in all of that effort and in all of your efforts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and strengthen us. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tools and the wherewithals to withstand the difficulties and overcome the challenges that we are faced with. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
If I could ask, if there are any kids in the seats, there's a lot of people standing. There's space up here to sit. There's a rug that's put on the ground, inshallah. So for any kids that are sitting in seats, please try to make your way up here so that we have some more seats available. Jazakumullah khairan, Imam Rauf again. One thing I just want to echo that Imam Rauf said is that a lot of people here are from MCMC, myself included. But it's beautiful because it doesn't matter which masjid you're a part of. We're all here for the masjids and the establishment of masjids, because Allah says in the Quran that وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ فَلَا تَدْعُوا مَعَ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. That these masjids, they're for Allah. It's not about this organization versus that organization. We're all here for the same purpose, and that purpose is to worship Allah. So may Allah put barakah in this effort again. So to talk more about the project, I'm going to ask Brother Amin Kareem if he could make his way up, give us some more background about the background of the project, inshallah, and where you're trying to go.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So brothers and sisters, I'm going to actually stand over here, so I have to use the laptop to go through some of the slides and presentations. So sometimes I may be turning my back at you and sometimes I may be facing you, so forgive me if I am giving my back to you instead, not intentionally. But what I wanted to cover right now is okay? Mic is okay? I just want to make sure everybody can hear, so I'm trying to get as close to the mic, but maybe too close. So what I want to do is I want to walk through how we came about where we are today and what is our future of this project. So I'm going to present some of the slides on the screen, so inshallah I'll go a little fast because we're running a little behind, but I want to cover as much information, relevant information as possible. So inshallah we'll give you a good perspective. So first thing, I want to just share what our vision is for this project. We wanted to establish a community-based institution that inspired by the Quran and Sunnah, something that we will be all modeling according to the Islamic principles, Spiritually, we want to promote the education services for the greater part of the community. So this is a very broad vision of our project. Then we have our mission. How do we accomplish our vision? So missions are the steps that we need to take in order to accomplish this. And what are, these are again high level, but give you an idea of what we are trying to accomplish. So we have an acronym over there, SENSR, or sensor, if you want to call it quickly. So what it means, each letter stands for something. So S stands for strengthen our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the objective at the end of the day. That's what we want to accomplish. Then E stands for enhance our knowledge through education, outreach, collaboration, and social services. This is the only way we can all be together, united as a community. And this is the principle, this is the mission of this organization. That's what we want to accomplish at the end of the day. We want to nurture the faith, to uphold Islamic values, and foster the well-being of surrounding communities. So we have multiple communities, as Imam Rauf mentioned earlier. We have different masajids, but there's a still need for another place where we can all gather, come and learn about the deen, at the same time do our ritual practice, day-to-day prayers, and include our children and adults to learn together, and so that we can increase our faith, our knowledge of the deen. Then the S stands for serve the spiritual, religious, and communal needs for the community. So it's kind of summing up what I just mentioned, the previous 2 or 3. And then the last one is the Iqra Community Academy Center, or Iqra Center. We want to make sure that that institution is raised regionally, nationally, by offering diverse programs and services so that we can all benefit at the end of the day. So on the sister side, I would like to humbly request that if you could just listen and just cut down the conversation a little bit so that everybody can hear and benefit, because our speaker and mic is not very cooperative, but inshallah I hope the sisters will be more cooperative than our electronic devices. So please, if you could quiet down, then you can hear the information. Jazakallah. Our core values. So Iqra, if you look at this picture, Iqra is sitting in the center, but what it really means is it is bringing the community together. What we want to do is also be very devoted to our deen, so our practice. We want to be excellence at everything that we do when it comes to our deen, when we practice our deen. We want to offer as many services as possible. Imam Rauf mentioned a little bit about some of the services that we need in the community. And these are, whether we have an institution already or we don't, we need those services all the time. So we want to provide the best possible services for our organization, for our community, for our youth, for our future generation, for our adults and the elder generation. All of us will benefit from it. And all of this comes together with the right leadership within the organizations, within the community. And everyone in our community is really responsible for some sort of leadership role. So it's not just the people who are part of an organization, but everybody in the community, every father, every mother, they play these roles with their children. So it is something that we want to make sure that we highlight, because leadership comes not just from the community, but from the household itself. So we need to make sure that those things are managed and covered properly so that our children benefit in the future. So those are our core values for establishing Iqra. Now I want to take you through a journey that we went through over the last couple of years. How did we come about establishing this organization? It wasn't easy. And I'm sure all of you can understand establishing an institution like this is never easy, but it has a lot of challenges. But over time, we all accomplish those things because we work together. That's the bottom line at the end of the day. So I want to take you through this journey, sort of a roadmap, how we got where we are today. So if you look at this, there are a couple of years mentioned there. In 2018, somewhere in the middle of 2018, we realized that based on the community's need, community's demand, that we need to find a place to have another place where we can gather, we can practice our deen, and we can to increase our knowledge and so on. So we started looking for a place. We found several places. Unfortunately, as you know, it is very difficult to find a place and establish something that is related to us as Muslims. So it is a big challenge. So when we went through several of those places, unfortunately, we came with a bit of disappointment because we could not really secure a place with various logistical issues. So brothers were a little bit disappointed, but alhamdulillah, they renewed their motivation, they continued the effort, they did not give up. And alhamdulillah, as a Muslim, that's what we should be doing. Even if we can run into various challenges, we should never give up. And alhamdulillah, these brothers didn't give up. So in 2019, we continued our search, and at the end of 2019, there were some positive things we started seeing, even though we didn't secure anything yet. A lot of discussions were taking place. We found a place that we think it will be possible, so we continued the discussion with the ownership of the property. But alhamdulillah, as you can see in 2020, takbir for all of us, because we were able to secure that place. And we were able to lease a property for a short term as well as long term. So short term is something that we have today. And I will go over those in the next couple of slides. So with that short term starting, it just gave us a nucleus or center to get things started. So we were able to find a temporary place. Along with the temporary place, alhamdulillah, we were able to get a permanent place. A permanent place that we can, at least for time being, we can lease that place for 20 years. It's not easy to lease something for that long, but alhamdulillah, we were able to secure that. The ownership of the property was extremely cooperative with us, and alhamdulillah, with the brothers' effort, we were able to get both places from the same person. And how easy can that be? I mean, it's very, very difficult to find one place. We were able to get two places from the same person. He was able to give us both, for short term as well as long term. So alhamdulillah, it was a great blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then from there, where we are heading is, we want to establish that permanent place. The permanent place where we don't have to worry about moving, as we are in a temporary place over next year, so we have to move. So if you look at that map, 2021, inshallah, we hope to have the permanent place set up so that we can have a masjid or a musallah or a prayer or an institution, whatever we want to call it. We will have a place that we can always be there and practice. We don't have to worry about moving. So that's our journey so far to where we are today. Let me show you what we have today. If you can look at the screen, if you can see the picture, maybe from the back, it may not be very clear, but it's a ground floor, 1,200 square foot Musallah space where we started beginning of this year, so we actually have 5 daily prayers there. Every day after Isha, we have small talks. These are the programs that exist today. As soon as we opened this place, we started this program. So, alhamdulillah, we have daily short talk after Isha prayer. Fridays, we're looking to start Quran night for our youth, because our youth also need to be considered. Our youth are kind of overlooked a lot of the time, so we want to make sure that they're engaged properly. Saturday mornings, we have various topics that we have dars on those topics after Fajr prayer. Saturday night after Isha, a young brother, mashallah, Allah bless him with knowledge. He's been going over the one now is 40 hadiths. So he's doing that from the beginning of that opening of our program. Sunday morning, we have Sheikh Fuad, Al-Qasas, and other shuyukh come in, and Sunday morning after Fajr, they give us short talk. Along with the short talk, we also have Sunday morning breakfast. So another motivation for us to come Sunday morning for Fajr prayer, join the brothers, have breakfast. Mashallah, so far it's been quite fulfilling. So much food that we get every Sunday morning. So I encourage all the brothers. We don't have the sisters arrangement yet, but for brothers at least, we want to see all the brothers to come and join us on Sunday morning for dars as well as for breakfast. Sunday evening, we're going to start soon the Quran night for the adults. So adults are also somewhere overlooked, so we want to make sure the adults are involved in that activity just like the youths are, so all generations should be covered. So that is where we are today. Now, next slide, I want to just highlight who are the brothers as part of the Shura, as part of the management, what are their roles and responsibilities, so that all of you get to know them, and if you have any suggestions, recommendations in any of these areas that they're responsible for, we welcome all of your feedback and input to it so that we can improve over time. So this is a sort of an organizational chart in a way. I hope you can see it from the distance. If not, I will just read them. So alhamdulillah, we have amongst the brothers who are responsible, they elected an Amir. And then we have brother responsible for operation, brother responsible for maintenance. And then you will see the future project, which requires a lot of renovation and construction work. So we have a brother responsible for it. Financial management, you know, it's probably the biggest responsibility for any organization. So we want to make sure that that is managed properly. So we have two brothers responsible for that. So you will see them in the next slide. We have information management. We live in an information age today. So we want to make sure that our communication is out to everyone on time and in the right way, so that you get the right message and the right time. So we have brother responsible for that. We have public relations, events like this, or external communications and so on. We have brother responsible for that. And we also have legal expertise. Now, we are going into a new place that requires a lot of renovation, a lot of variance work, a lot of things we have to deal with the township, so we need legal expertise, so we have a brother who's responsible for that. Now, so this slide, the brothers who are responsible for this is a surprise for them because they don't know what I did. So I put their pictures in a little bit bigger, so you at least put their name and the face together, so if you need anything, you can reach to these brothers, because sometimes in organizations, we hear about different people, but we just don't know who they are. Because we come and we pray, and we just don't know who to talk to. So we want to highlight all those things, because we want to manage this thing a little bit differently than other places. So I'm going to bring their faces and their name with it. So they may just hate me for this, but inshallah, they hope they love me enough that they don't hate me. So first one, from the operation side, Brother Muhammad Abu Said. He is given probably one of the biggest tasks is to manage the operational aspect of this institute that we are building. So Brother Abu Said, most of you know, those who don't know, you can see his face and his name, so any recommendation, any suggestions, bring it to him about the operation.
Take a picture, save it.
Next is maintenance of the place, this current place and the future place. Brother Azmat Pasha, he's responsible for that. So he will be handling any of those maintenance related work. So make sure if you have any maintenance related questions or concerns, you reach out to him. And everybody's contacts and information will be available on our website soon, inshallah, because the website is still being built. Next, our renovation and construction. We have the best expert that we know in our community, Brother Zulfiqar Ali. Alhamdulillah, he has so much construction project. He has done successfully those things, and alhamdulillah, he's working with us to build our new place going forward, inshallah. And anything that we need to do in the new current place. So next is the financial management. So as I said earlier, financial is one of the biggest and the challenging component of any organization. So we gave two brothers the responsibility, Brother Muhammad Fakir and Brother Nagman Saqib. So they are working together as a team, and they will have different responsibilities within the financial management side of it. And inshallah, they will have a better financial standing for our organization as we move forward. Now, this is also another very important piece, the treasury or accounting. So you have to really keep on top of your expenses, your revenues, and how real they are, actual versus planned. So we always can plan a dream, but then what are we really collecting actually? What are our expenses? How do we manage those expenses? How do we actually bring in more revenues in it? How much is collected? We can always project something, but then reality is different. So that's where Brother Ayub Khan, he's focusing on, and it's a very big task, and he will have a team to work with him. every brother that I mentioned so far, they're not working by themselves, but they're forming a team of brothers working with them, so that we have communities engaged, not just one person show, but it's a collective effort from all the brothers within the community. So each brother is tasked to form a team, a committee, about 4 to 5 brothers, so they can help them moving forward with this project, because one person cannot do everything together. They need to delegate and distribute their responsibilities. Then we have information management. Brother Nilamuddin is responsible for that, and he will have a team of brothers working with him, supporting him. Now, living in an information age, we need to communicate things on a timely basis. We cannot sit on it for a day, everything becomes obsolete one day after. So always have to be on time and get the message out to the community, engage the community through various social media services that are available. So Brother Nilamuddin will be responsible for that. Next is our legal representative. I couldn't get his picture on time because he was very busy. He's here today, so I will introduce you to him in a minute. At the end of my presentation, he will give a brief talk. But since I couldn't put his picture, I just put a legal symbol in there. So that's Brother Ibrahim Ahmed. He's a, alhamdulillah, young brother, very energetic brother, and he will help us with all the legal matters. All right, the last one is the okay, so that's me. Last one. So I am responsible for the public relations work. That's why you can see me standing in front of you today. So I will be doing those external communications. And subhanAllah, I don't know why brothers decided that they wanted to elect me as their Amir. So I am current Amir for the organization. I'm working with the brothers. So inshallah, we need all of your help, all of your support, so that we can make this project a successful one and more in the future, inshallah. Enough of the management, so now I want to talk about the project, the overview of the feature of this Iqra Center. I want to show you a picture of where we are, where we're going to be, and what are the capabilities we have in there. So the picture isn't very clear from where I'm standing, so in the back it will probably be even less clear. But at least it's a two-story building. It has 6,000 square foot usable space, 2 floors, 1 floor for the sisters, 1 floor for the brothers. We will have separate entrance for brothers and sisters. We'll have separate restrooms, wudu area. This is a 20-year lease agreement that I mentioned to you earlier. We're going to have with the ownership. We also have, on our agreement with the ownership, we also have first right to buy it. If the owner ever wants to sell it, he would have to come to us first, ask us if we can buy it. If we don't buy it, he can sell it to somebody else. But if we are able to do it, we have the first right to buy it. So alhamdulillah, that's a great deal for us. This is also a very solid structure. It's a steel structure. So subhanAllah, when we walked inside of it, we felt like it was such a heavy structure and very strong structure. So we feel that alhamdulillah, it's great for our next 20 years to be in that and without much of an infrastructure change. It needs renovation. So as you can see, the building isn't very clear, but it's not very aesthetically beautiful, but it needs work. And inshallah, with your help, with everybody's support, we will be able to change this look of this. Inshallah, in 1 year time frame, you will see a completely different picture how this building looks. So that's our plan for this feature. And it has plenty of parking space. So parking is always a challenge, but inshallah, we'll outgrow it. But at least for time being, we have enough parking space. Now I want to show you a little bit about the inside of the building with some floor plan. We don't have the actual picture, but we have the diagram of it. So this is how the layout of the first floor is today. And so if you see, there's a lot of empty spaces. There's just a couple of offices. What we're looking to do with this space is this. So if you see the top portion of it, there's a line in the middle. Top portion of it is going to be sisters area. The bottom portion where we're going to be building the bathrooms for the brothers and sisters with a separate entrance, completely separated with the dividers and partitions. Also have the entrance, we have the wudu area, we have the bathroom, as I said. So this is what kind of work needs to be done in that place. So this is for the first floor for the sisters area. The sisters area will also have on the same floor we'll have a bathroom. This is the second floor. Again, it's very clear, nothing there, it's just the structure and a few things we need to change. But there's some more work needs to be done in terms of heating and cooling and all these things for both floors. So those are the activities going to be requiring to do going forward. So this is how it's almost same, just the first floor, second floor is pretty open, and it's going to be for the brothers. So this is how the layout of the place is right now. What I want to now bring in is the challenge, the financial components of it. How much is it going to cost to do the renovation? So we have estimated some of the key things that we need to spend money on to get this project going. So I will share that with you right now. So if you look at the renovation budget, total budget is about $225,000. How is it broken down? Bathrooms and wudu area is probably going to cost us about $40,000. Electrical work, sound system, security, all these things probably going to be around $30,000. HVAC heating and the cooling system is going to be close to $50,000. We also have to bring the gas line within the building because this building is in the back of that complex and it doesn't have the gas lines. The owner will bring the gas line to the building, but we have to put it inside in terms of our plumbing. So that's a cost for that. Of course, the internal finish, the drywalls and carpets, all those things need to be done. And then, of course, dealing with the township and other legal matters, we have legal expenses. So if you can see this broken down, total cost we're estimating about $225,000, maybe a little more or less. But immediately what we need is some sort of seed funding or seed money, as we talk about, as we say. We're looking to we need about $100,000 to at least get the work started, get the variance and permits and all these things done for from the township, legal expenses and so on. So this is what we are looking to accomplish over next couple months so that we can get the work started. So our real need right now is about $100,000, and the rest we need to collect over some period of time to make sure we complete the project by the end of the year. Now, we're going to talk about sustainability. How are we planning to sustain ourselves in current place and the future place? So, alhamdulillah, so far we have seen a lot of donations coming into our current place. Daily and weekly donations we're collecting. Friday collections, that's in the future because we're not doing Jummah right now in this place. So, in our current place. So, in the future, once we start the Jummah prayer in our new place, inshallah, we hope that there will be more collections coming. Alhamdulillah, so far we have a lot of brothers committed on an individual pledge monthly basis. So monthly expenses that we have in the current place and what we will have in the future place, this individual pledge will help us sustain ourselves on a month-to-month basis. So we don't want to be in a negative, we don't want to be behind paying any of the bills and utilities. So we want to be always on time, on target, doing this. So this is where we need all of you to help us. If you haven't already participated in the monthly, I encourage all of you, brothers and sisters, to join us. Whatever you can contribute on a monthly basis. We'll have the ways to reach us, so you can let us know how much, or, even if it's $10, $20, $100, whatever you can. Every little thing counts, and everything accumulates to help us in our monthly expense. We are also looking at planned fundraisers on a quarterly, yearly basis. In Ramadan, inshallah, also. We're planning to do something this year in a small place. Eid collections, all of these are most of the masajids, most of the organizations use, and we're no different, so we also want to do the same thing. And we also will have in our future state, in our new place, when we complete that, we want to have some sort of advertisement or sponsorship that many masajids use their website, their video displays and so on, so we want to tap onto those as well for our area of community. So this is how we plan to sustain ourselves. Now, what are the services that we are planning to offer in our new place? So I showed you earlier what we are doing in the current place. Now what are we going to do for the new place at the 6,000 square feet? So this is what our service is going to be. Of course, 5 daily prayers. Inshallah, we will introduce Jummah prayers. We also want to do sisters programs because obviously we don't want to leave our sisters behind. So they need to have their programs. We will offer that opportunity for them. We have youth program. Inshallah, we will also do Tafid program. And inshallah, we have a lot of youth here. And then within our communities, we want to introduce Ijaza program. So as they go through certain expertise, they will get that qualifications and then ability to get that Ijaza as well. We also want to introduce academic tutoring. This is another area that our community needs, our children need. And now they go to other places. Why shouldn't we as a community, Muslim community, offer those to our children? And alhamdulillah, we have so much expertise within us. Those expertise should be tapped, and we want to introduce those programs. We want to do professional training, because a lot of us have various skill set and expertise. Our youth need some of those professional training so that they can excel within their area of discipline, so we want to introduce those programs. Of course, we can't miss the monthly family nights, so we will bring the families together. They can socialize, get to know each other, and build stronger bonds. Now, this is another piece that we're introducing, probably not too many organizations do. We want to introduce Scholars Corner. What does that mean? So a lot of us deal with a lot of issues in our day-to-day life, our youth, our adults, our families, and then who do they go to ask questions? Sometimes they're shy about asking someone directly. We want to introduce online way of submitting their questions and responses from our students. So alhamdulillah, we have more students here. We work with them and others to build that network so that when people have questions about different issues that they don't know how to deal with, they can submit their questions anonymously if they want to, or with their identity, and then they can respond back to them with the guidance and direction. So we will introduce that through our website. Ramadan program, of course, Tarawih prayers, Iftar programs, we will introduce those. We also want to be part of the interfaith dialogues with our non-Muslim communities. Our youth should be also participating in some of these soup kitchen voluntary work. I think MCMC does that, and other organizations do it. We also want to make sure that our youth are participating on this. The next service is not, I didn't see that many places offer that, but we're calling it the arbitration and counseling service. So again, there's a dispute between brothers, communities, families. We want to offer that service in our, when we have the permanent place. And then the last one, last but not least, senior citizen services. A lot of senior citizens need some sort of assistance in whether coming to getting a ride to the masjid or going to the doctors or whatever other services they need. We want to offer those services as well because those are lacking in our communities. So inshallah, we want to offer all of these when we have our permanent place. Now, this next slide after this one, we want to give you a roadmap of what our vision for the organization. How are we moving this organization forward? So just pay attention so you understand what our objective, what our plans are. So you can see it's a road, right? And then our journey is where number one is. This is where we are today. We have the current place. Our location is 1032 Skelton Road, Suite 102, which is behind, if you drive on Skelton Road, you see Taekwondo place, we are directly behind it. That's our temporary place. Our permanent place, in that same place, same parking lot, behind both buildings. It's a separate, standalone building. This is the two-story building. By 2021, we want to complete the renovation, complete all our work, and we want to move into the new place. So that's our step 2, if you look at number 2. Number 3, once we are in our new place, we want to sustain ourselves. We want to stabilize ourselves. So we don't want to expand too fast without stabilizing our existing place. So we will focus 2022 just to stabilize that environment, that place, making sure that we're self-sufficient. We don't have any debts, loans, anything that we need to complete the project. So that year we're going to focus on that. And in 2023, inshallah, we will look into the expansion of other services that we want to do for the community. So whatever community demands, community needs, we want to focus on from 2023 onward. So that's our next 4 years roadmap, inshallah. So for all this to be completed, all of you need to be part of it. This is a community-driven project. So we want the community to be totally involved in this project. Whatever ways, whatever capacities, whatever skills, expertise you have, we need you to be part of it. Without your help, we probably won't be go from 1 to 2. So we need all of you to be part of it. So if you can see the plan, you see how much effort is going to be needed. Only a few brothers cannot do this. We need everybody to be part of it. Alhamdulillah, it's great to see all these faces here because all of your help will be needed one way or the other. Now, we also want to get your feedback based on what we are doing today and what we are planning to do in the future. So there are several ways you can provide your feedback. So without your feedback, we don't know how well we're doing or what are the areas that we need to improve. So we need your help in that. So our website will have a feedback button. You can click on it and you can provide your feedback. You can also use the WhatsApp group or Facebook, any of the social media we will provide and we'll publish those to you. So those will be used to provide feedback. We also have email, so if you want to write down email, it's admin@iqraacademynj.org. So send us your feedback today, tomorrow, whenever, based on what we have discussed today. Any suggestions, we need that. And of course, when you are in the Musallah area, in the current place, we have a suggestion box. So put your suggestions in there if you are there. If you see something that needs to be improved in any of the areas, we have the box and we have the paper pen right there. So just provide your feedback so that we can work on that. This is how our website looks like today, but it's being worked on, so it may change over the next couple of weeks. Our website address, again, www.iqraacademynj.org. So this is where our website will be, and the website will have all the information that you need to get or any feedback you want to provide. Okay, so now next one is an interactive session or interactive slide. Because I need everybody, brothers and sisters, to participate on this. Because your participation is extremely critical on this. So everybody has cell phone, right? Smartphones. Could you please take your phone out? If you can take out your cell phones, brothers, sisters, please take out your cell phones and have it ready. Unlock it. So what I want everybody to do is go to your text service and dial 81010. 81010. Just put on your text service as if you're sending text to somebody, put that in there. And on your message, put the @ sign as you can see on the screen. @ sign and Iqra, IQRAUS. And then send a message. Right away you will register with our text service and you will get a response back. So you are registered with it, because if you're not registered, you cannot get all the information. So we would like all of you to do that so that you are all part of our distribution list and you will be able to get all the messages quickly. Similar exercise for the next slide, but this is different. That one is we need a lot of volunteers. As I mentioned to you, I showed 7 brothers who are responsible for 7 different things, but they need volunteers to be part of their team. Brothers and sisters can participate on those. So I'm going to show you the next slide where you can do the same thing, but this is for the volunteers. So if you have some time, you can volunteer for our service and our helping us with the committees that we have mentioned to you. Please do that so that we know who is available to volunteer sometime. This is so critical. Without the volunteer services, we cannot do anything. So again, dial 81010. And then on the message, put Iqra V for volunteer, and make sure you put @ sign, AT, not the word AT, but the @ sign you see is like a symbol. Put that and Iqra V, so then you can register as a volunteer for us as a separate group. So please do that, so that we know who are the brothers and sisters available. So I'm almost done, inshallah. I've been talking too much maybe. The next slide is just to show you, it's our feature. Scholars Corner. It will be available on our website. Our website address /scholars. It's coming up in the near future, inshallah. So once it's available, we'll let you know. And that is the last thing I have to share with you at this time. So Jazakumullah khairan for paying attention and being part of this presentation. Now I want to take 2 minutes to introduce our legal expert, and he will give us a brief talk and just introduce himself. he will be working with us from a legal perspective, and he will pull in whatever legal assistance and support we need from others within the community and from the expertise. So, Brother Ibrahim, please just maybe go on the stage so everybody can see you, and then speak. Tell us a couple things.